Welcome back. The next presenters are Mauro Eldritch and Santiago Perez. Their talk is about how to generate fake news and political propaganda using machine learning. Thank you so much, Mauro, and also for Santiago for supporting the Red Team Village and supporting Grey Hat. The floor is yours. Take it away.
Welcome to our talk, Malicious Learning, Generating Fake News with Machine Learning, by Mauro Eldritch and Santiago Perez from DC 5411. Before we start, I would like to introduce myself, and then my partner Santiago will introduce himself and give a brief introduction to this talk in general. My name is Mauro Eldritch. I'm an Argentine hacker. I'm the founder of the VCA and DC 5411, Argentina and Uruguay. I spoke at many conferences around the world, including the USA, Russia, Brazil, Colombia, Iran, India, United Kingdom, and Pakistan. Now my partner Santiago is going to introduce himself.
Hello everyone, I'm Santiago Perez Montaño, better known as Cypher. I'm currently an Army officer in Uruguay. I work as an engineer at VCA, and I am also a member of DC 5411. I have the opportunity to give a conference at Autodefensa Digital at Argentina, and today on Grey Hat. I hope you enjoy our talk today. Our main objective in this conference is to tell you in detail how we managed to create a framework that had the possibility of creating fake news and propaganda generator, thereby demonstrating that it really works and is operational at this moment. In the same way, we are going to give a brief explanation of how it's composed and what was used to create it in such a way that it is understood at all levels to avoid lack of concept. Also explaining the Markup Change, what was used at the basis of said framework. In this image, we can see an example of how Big Brother generated 10 false news based on Markup Change, generating greater accuracy due to having advanced artificial intelligence in its source code. In this disclaimer, we want to clarify that all the technology used depends on the input that we enter, that there are no intentions to attack religions, beliefs, or political ideas, much less people and ethnic groups. Big Brother is a fake news generator which can be designed in which to lean. In this case, left or right is conditioned by the content that is fed into our tool, and there are no pre-programmed biases within the system. This talk is for fun and for waiting to improve ourselves as researchers and developers. It does not have any political or criminal purpose. We appreciate being able to maintain that nature throughout it, and especially in the question section. Next, I will make an introduction about artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and open artificial intelligence. I will try to explain it in the simplest way to avoid confusion between concepts. Artificial intelligence make it possible for machine to learn from experience, adjust to new input, and performance tasks like human beings. They are rely mostly on deep learning and natural language processing. Using these technologies, computer can be trained to perform a specific task by processing large amount of data and recognized patterns in the data. In this case, we use the Markup Change that we'll explain later. In this case, the most visible example is the choice between a dog or a cat from an image, because this type of decision does not require us to give the order, but rather the artificial intelligence that can carry out this type of selection. Alternatively, pick the best approach to get an approximated output instinct to be a dog, 18.5%. The ability of machine to learn is present in many aspects of everyday life. For this reason, machine learning is behind the recommendation of movies on digital platforms, the voice recognition of virtual assistant, or the ability of autonomous cars to see the road. It is a branch of artificial intelligence that allows machines to learn without being expressly programmed to do so, an indispensable skill for making systems capable of identifying patterns between data to make predictions. This technology is present in a myriad of applications, such as recommendation from Netflix or Spotify, intelligent response for Gmail, or speech from Siri and Alexa. In short, machine learning is a master of pattern recognition and is capable of converting a data sample into a computer program capable of drawing inference from new datasets for which it has not been previously trained. Deep learning. Deep learning is an area within machine learning that mimics the connectivity of the human brain, classifying data sets and finding correlation between them. Based on neural networks, it has the ability to prioritize learning, processing information by level. The learning happens in stages, just like a human. First, the more concrete data is learned, and then in the high levels, the information previously obtained is used to continue learning. This system has great utility potential for different types of applications in the real world. For example, deep learning network will learn to recognize image where a dog appears without having the label dog. However, currently it's used to explore the possibility of reusing drugs already known and prevent for use against new diseases, analyze medical images such as X-rays and MRI, increases diagnostic precision in less time and at lower cost than traditional methods. Detect fraud, make recommendations to users, manage relationship with them, among other uses. Introduction of OpenAI is a research laboratory located in San Francisco, California, whose mission is the development of artificial intelligence for the benefit of the entire community. It is a non-profit organization founded by Elon Musk, co-founder of PayPal or Tesla Motors, Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, co-founder of PayPal, and Reid Hoffman, LinkedIn. The objective of OpenAI is to work together with other institutions. I witnessed progress in the area, so much so that Microsoft this year signed an agreement with this company and contributed a large sum of money to promote and develop emotional intelligence. This program differs from companies such as Microsoft, Google, or Apple in that it is open and free, being available to anyone who wants it and with easy access. It is intended that the machine can think and behave as human being. We can see this is game of change. Natural language processing, voice recognition, vision system, smart robots, smartphones, among others. Experiment and research on artificial intelligence. Authors of GPT-2, a powerful old project capable of writing news, articulate story, poem, and even code. They refused to publish a full version fearing a rise in spam and fake news. This caused great curiosity to us and we decided to try to build our own generator. Almost a year later, they finally released the full version.
Not faking it. Previously on the fake news scene. As my partner Santiago mentioned it just on the last slide, GPT-2 was a high-quality fake news generator. It was about to be released in February on the 19th last year, but OpenAI, its manufacturer, withheld the full version of the program out of fear that it will be used to spread fake news, spam, or disinformation in general. So, in other words, the manufacturer was afraid that GPT-2 was to be weaponized. And after receiving a lot of criticism from the community, it was finally released on November on the same year. You can try an implementation, it's not GPT-2 per se. You can try this implementation for free online without downloading anything on talktotransformer.com. Obviously, it will be rate limited because it's free for everybody to use, but you can get a taste of how it works in general. So, now you might ask, this fear behind GPT-2 being weaponized, is it legit? Is there a valid reason for thinking that weaponizing fake news may lead to dangerous results? Yes, actually yes. Weaponizing fake news can prove to be useful for certain actors. For example, in politics, you can generate false forecasts or ignite a dirty campaign, misinform about a party or a candidate in favor or against, and influence an election. In economics, you can cause currency fluctuations, particularly in closed economies like Argentina. Let me explain it here. In Argentina, for example, we are not allowed to buy foreign currencies. So obviously, as with any prohibition, you raise a black market. The dollars at official rate are around 72 Argentine pesos, our currency. But on the black market, it's obviously double the value, ranging from 130 to 140, depending where you buy it. Now, if you weaponize a fake news, like, for example, you launch a headline saying, harder restrictions to come regarding the monetary freedom, you will obviously skyrocket the price of foreign currencies on the black market. You can also do this for stock fluctuations, which is known as pump and dump schemes, but you can also find a newer variant of this scam called crypto fluctuation. It's a crypto pump and dump scam. Or you can also use this to undermine the reputation of a company. If you want to know more about pump and dump scams, they are basically when you have an organized ring claiming to have investings in a certain stock, or in this case on a cryptocurrency. They buy and buy and buy, inflating and raising artificially the price. Then this tricks other potential buyers into buying that stock or that crypto. And basically, once they buy it to a high price, all the original ringleaders, all the original criminals sell their stock, causing it to go down again, to be on the lowest price possible. So basically, you can weaponize these headlines to cause economic chaos. Also, on social, on daily life, you can generate discontent about a party, politician, or a government measure. And even in an organized way, those so-called propaganda and disinformation devices. We'll dig into real cases now. These are emblematic cases involving fake news. For example, we have some here from the USA and Brazil. One of them says, Trump's grandfather was a pimp and tax evader. His father, a member of the Ku Klux Klan. This headline has a particular story behind. This was one of the most shared contents, fake contents, on Facebook. This was on number one of the most shared content and was fake. The second one says, Ocasio-Cortez proposed a motorcycle ban, which is obviously fake, but it was also the third or fourth content, most shared content on Facebook. Then we have a Brazilian news. Man who stabbed Bolsonaro is a member of the left-wing party PT. Also, this one, once you click it on the article, it featured a picture of a PT meeting, a meeting of this left-wing party, and the man who stabbed Bolsonaro was featured in that picture. But it was later found that it was photoshopped. Now some economicals in Argentina. This is what I was talking about, a closed economy, which is pretty vulnerable to this kind of attacks. Central Bank of Argentina ran out of dollars. Withdraw your funds as soon as possible. I know that I said before that we have a restriction. You are not totally forbidden on buying. You can buy a small quota of dollars, $200 per month. And most of the people withdraw them from the banks, but some others keep them inside their own accounts. As you might know, Argentina faced a lot of situations, economical situations, where the funds saved by people were not available. Let's say the government declares that you cannot withdraw your funds. This happened just 20 years ago. So this kind of headline weaponizes a situation that a lot of people who have experienced it, who have lived through it, are in total fear of living again, of repeating again. So this might lead to a massive amount of people gathering in the banks. Another one, these were real cases. The second one was from some years ago and said, a popular biscuit factory closes due to the crisis. The actual headline named the factory. We won't for obvious circumstances. This caused a lot of people to share, to retweet, to copy and paste on WhatsApp groups or on its family groups, on every possible social network, causing a lot of people to really believe that this very, very popular in Argentina biscuit factory was about to close its doors, or that it has closed them. Then we have a third headline that says the best stocks to buy to avoid the crisis. Fun fact, most of the Argentine stocks since the last 5 years are facing a high depreciation. So even if one of them rises, it's almost certainly not advisable to buy at all. But again, having a closed economy, in this case, causes people to look for alternative ways of saving its money or investing its money. So somebody who on other circumstances will never try to buy stock or to compete in the stock market will try to take a look and say, okay, if this headline says it may be true, I might give it a try, right? And even social headlines. For example, despite the pandemic, a fourth welfare will not be paid to the unemployed population. This information, aside from at this current time not being true, it's also not official. No official sources have said, okay, we won't pay a fourth welfare check to the unemployed. Also, an official source haven't said, okay, we will pay. So, if you are in silence, if you remain silent, somebody else will speak for you. This might cause, in the current context of lockdown and economic recession in my country, this could lead to a violent uprising, to riots, to protests, and whatever you can imagine and name. And then another headline that says, the quarantine might not end until 2021. This is the lockdown. And you know that we have one of the longest lockdowns in the world. We are We have already passed the 200 days. So giving this kind of notice for people will obviously cause a negative impact. I know that you have seen how simple headlines can be weaponized. We'll try doing it ourselves with our tools. This leads us to the next chapter, lie machines, building a homemade fake news generator. The first step is collection of information. Normally, who can comment about a news story? Anyone who has read it. But we are in 2020, and who can comment about a news story in 2020? Basically, anyone who hasn't read past the headline. This is the best vulnerability to exploit. People who doesn't read. Big Brother, and I'm pretty sure to say that almost any other fake news generator, will always succeed against people without reading habits because it reads way more than them. So, how does Big Brother collect news? Is it subscribed to any major network of news or to any major newspaper? No. We'll resort to something pretty classic from the old days of internet, RSS. These are news feeds. A user defines the URL for these news feeds and determines its political affiliation, call it left, right, or garbage news, and puts it into a CSV file, which is the input file. Big Brother then uses a library called feed parser to fetch the content from that feed, parse it into an output file, and then try to generate a fake news from there. Let's see the collect process. We simply issue the collect command, and Big Brother will start querying every single RSS feed we have in our input files. Then, near the end, Big Brother will display a final summary of its findings, like here. As you might see, a lot of news headlines were classified on the right wing, left wing, and garbage. Some of them were even detected as clickbaits. Okay, let's continue. So, how does Big Brother stores this news? As I said before, everything is done on CSV files. So you'll have input files for left, right, and garbage, and also output files for left, right, and garbage news. So here we got to the interesting part. How does Big Brother generate fake news from them? We have two approaches. I'll explain the hard way first, the long and hard and painful way first, and then the simple way. The full approach is the neural networks way. And you may say, okay, what are neural networks? They are computing systems inspired by the biological neural networks, where each node signals other nodes and receives feedback from them in order to learn and improve over time. Improve what? Improve the process and resolution of a certain task. How do you implement them? Using Keras, a high-level API working on top of TensorFlow, which is an open-source machine learning platform. Training a model to generate fake news from it, it's rather simple. Generating the model is simple. Now, generating a good model is one of the hardest tasks I found in my entire career. If you want to generate a model, it's pretty easy. In Big Brother, you just have to specify its orientation, left, right, or garbage, the number of iterations which will be used to train this model, the number of times the training will happen. Obviously, this number has to be really high in order to make a difference. And 3 important words to work with. The more iterations and the more specific those words are, the better the final result will be. So in the following example, because it's only an example and we don't have a lot of time, we'll use 10 iterations, which will lead to a obviously poor model. As you might see, we issue the command train, left orientation, 10 iterations using the following words: Biden, Megan, and propaganda. Let's see. This will start the generation of a model and will iterate over it 10 times. As you may see, all the words here are totally unrelated. They won't make any sense. And it says, if your results are not satisfactory, you can keep training your model further. Obviously, you have to further train this. This is a dumpster fire which makes absolutely no sense. But this is the expected, since we used only 10 iterations. So, the results were obviously disastrous. If you want to train a competent model, you require a lot of input and several iterations. This may not be the best alternative for someone who is in a hurry or that only wants to test this application. So you might say, okay, this is pretty good, I understand, but I don't have a couple of hours or 1,000 of hours to test this. Don't worry, we got you covered. And this is the fast lane, the easy way I told you before. Let's jump into it. Okay, the fast lane is using Markup Change. What is Markup Change? It's an stochastic method describing a sequence of possible events in which the probability of each event depends only on the state from the previous one. So, I will be giving simpler examples on the following slides, so don't worry about this definition at all. We'll work with sequences that contains events or objects, in this case ABC. The value of B will depend on value of A. The value of C will depend naturally on the value of B. Indirectly, the value of C depends too on the value of A, but is not aware of it. Markup Change is a memoryless process. I'm giving you this example here. On the left we have a markup model with 3 possible events: eat ice cream, sleep, or run. Look at the arrows. These are probabilities. The chances of someone sleeping after running are 10%. On the other hand, the other way around, the chances of someone running after sleeping are of 60%. The chances of someone eating after running are 30%. The chances of someone running after eating are 70%. This is just an example and does not depict any real case. It's only for explaining Markup Change. Let's do another way simpler example. Markup Change can be implemented towards text generation. I want to generate a 6-word long sentence. This is a sequence of elements A, B, C, D, E, and F. The possible values can be taken from anywhere. Any text file will do, a book, a CSV dump, as the ones we use in Big Brother, or anything. The value for A, the starting value, will be hello. We have 3 possible values that could follow the word hello: everyone, mother, and world. We'll go with everyone. Then we have three possible values for C, which are nice, my, and how. If I choose how, a possible outcome for this sequence will be how are you doing? If I choose nice, a possible outcome will be nice to meet you. I'll choose mine. Now the following value is name naturally, but it could also be dog or head. So the final outcome could be hello everyone, my dog barks again. Hello everyone, my head hurts bad. But we keep going with name. Now we have three possibilities. Is, was, or isn't. We'll go with is. Now the final value can be Mauro, Santiago, or not. These are the most probable words to be used with this value. And I bet you use something similar to this every day, and some of you won't even notice about it. Look at the bottom part of this. Hello friends, my name is Santiago, and we have three possible outcomes. Is, and Perez. Santiago Perez is my co-speaker here. So, to make things clear, I'm not saying that the Google keyboard or Telegram or any other application is actively implementing Markup Change for this, but it works in a similar fashion. This is what I'm trying to say. Now, there's a great advantage on using this approach. You can generate fake news instantly. No models to train, no time to wait, no long hours, days, or months of extensively training a model just to see that it doesn't fit what you want or doesn't do what you need to do. So you can use this Markup Change in Python. How? Using the Markovify library, which you can install using pip. And you might ask us, is it reliable? Well, to be honest here, the outputs will be clunky and clumsy at times, but the cost of generating this output is ridiculously low. You can generate a couple of headlines in a few seconds. It's obviously quantity over quality, because you will get faster speeds, lower cost, and cheaper results. Let's run some examples, and they will be run with the time command to measure their duration. First, before the video, I want you to see how it works. There are 10 headlines here that were built using Markup Change. But out of 10, I only see that 4 of them might be somehow possible to use or to exploit. Again, more than half of the results are disposable. So let's check some of them. Facebook plans political censorship in anticipation of chaos, including Darrell ISIS. Intel expert fears Trump will hold another super spreader event. There's nothing but bad news for a goofy new pro-Trump ad campaign. COVID survivors furious after Trump refused to tell their roommates about possible life on B News. How dare you? How can you hide the life on B News? Let's check another one. This one gets darker. Kamala Harris helped alleged child sex abuse. Again, 1 out of 10 seems to be exploitable or a candidate to be weaponized. Check in this screenshot on the bottom part. You might see the time spent running this command, the generation, half a second. You don't believe me? Half a second again, but check this one. Iowa is a lie. So to everybody out there telling me, hey, I'm watching you from Iowa, I know that you're lying. Let's check this video. As you see, we can run this generation, and we can get 10 headlines in half a second every time. Sometimes it will take a little more, a little less, and obviously sometimes you will get all 10 headlines to be clumsy, and sometimes you can get a vast majority of them to be suitable for weaponizing. Sewer of political malpractice. I like it, that one. So, okay. Again, to repeat something that's pretty important for markup. Quantity over quality. Remember this. So, I want to explain in an informal way for everybody at home how both approaches works. A trained model approach. Let's say that for both cases you are not a native English speaker, just like me, and you say, my name Mauro, literally, my name Mauro. In a trained model approach, your teacher, your English teacher, educates you and explains in full linguistic detail why you are wrong, citing the corresponding grammatical and syntactical rules, and corrects your phrase by citing an example he or she knows for sure is correct based on his previous knowledge. So your final output after all that English lesson will be, my name is Mauro. Now, the Markup Change approach is a little bit different. Let's say, again, you're not a native English speaker and you say, my name's Santiago. Same error, but different handling. I am not a teacher, but that phrase indeed sounds odd to me. I'm used to seeing the word is normally placed between name and a name. So I can't cite English grammatical or syntactical rules, but I'm sure that is should be placed there, based on previous time I saw it done that way. Now, the advantages and disadvantages of each method. Training a model. It takes more time to complete, but improves over time. Can be retrained as much as you need, increasing its accuracy. It's bound to a specific language, the one in which you have trained it. And it has a heavy use of dependencies and resource consuming. On the other hand, the Markup Change has almost instant results, but a couple of them will be still clunky. Faster results, but lower accuracy. Sometimes you will see headlines that make no sense at all, like the one of Trump hiding, the life on Venus. How dare. I still can't believe he hid that. It remembers me of the Windows XP bug. Bosch hid the facts, that you can write it down on a notepad and it will go like with corrupted characters. And continuing, it's a probabilistic approach, so it measures the probabilities of a word appearing right after another word. It doesn't understand what the word says. That's why sometimes it creates totally unbelievable headlines. So, since this is a probabilistic approach, you can make it work instantly with any language. Actually, Big Brother was a project that was focused on Spanish misinformation for my country. And once we noted that we could use this in English, in Russian, in French, in any language, we were absolutely stoned about it. So Markup is also lighter and has almost no dependencies. You only need Markupify. You even can run this exercise without installing TensorFlow or Keras or anything that's heavy for you. Now we have tested a little bit, we have played around with a hybrid model. You can generate outputs with markup based on those from a trained model, You can also generate outputs with a model trained from the headlines generated via Markup Change. This may help you on a specific case where you need fine-tuning on the way you want to lie. So you really have to know what you're doing here because it's highly experimental. Every time we try it, we got a lot of problems, but you can really fine-tune your lying methods. Now it's time for even a funnier part, and we can let aside the probabilistics and the model training and the voting part, and let's jump into a demo, spotting fake news in the wild. So there's a special option inside Big Brother that is called the Replicant test. Once you have collected enough information, enough headlines, say 100, you should try the test switch. This test will launch an interactive testing menu, the Replicant test. This test will try to generate fake headlines using Markup Change, the method we saw just before, and you will be prompted to choose one of them to be hidden among real headlines. Then you can ask a friend to try and guess the fake headline interactively, helping you to see if your sources are useful and reliable, and if you're on the right track with your fake news generator. Now, I have recorded 2 sessions that I want to share with you, and I'll give you some time to try and guess the fake headline. Let's go. I will click pause on this video. So, here's the Replicant test. You have 10 headlines, numbers 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Please take a moment to read them. Try to figure out which one of this is fake. I'll play the video in a second and you'll have around 40 seconds to guess. Good luck. Remember, you can try to guess them but it's pretty easy to lose. Okay, we'll go. Time's up. Okay, let's go to the second one. And you may say, you might say, wait, how do I know you're not cheating on me? We'll see in a while. Again, same situation. You have 10 headlines. Try to guess which one is fake. Good luck. You have around 40 seconds. Look carefully. Sometimes you might choose the funnier headline, and sometimes that's true too, so it's pretty easy to fall for this. You say it's number 5? Sorry, wrong answer. The faint headline was, having socially selected officials makes a clean environment a right. Other states should follow. So now, as I said before, you may say, hey, I think you're cheating on me. That one looks pretty right, or that one doesn't look fake at all. So I urge you to don't believe in me, don't believe us. If you do, this talk was in vain. Google every headline and see by yourself that they are actual news stories from well-known sites. These slides will be published so you can go back to the video anytime you want. Of course, you won't be able to find 10 headlines because there's one that doesn't exist. It's fake. Try Google. Try to Google it and you'll see. And I know you may say, wait, I'm too lazy for Googling 20 headlines. Also, I'm busy scrolling my Facebook feed where I can get better news. Okay, that's why we started this talk in the first place. So, time to say goodbye. Conclusions. It doesn't take a dedicated artificial intelligence research lab to produce fake news quickly and massively. Anyone can recreate this experiment on a very low budget setup and use it to their own advantage. Say, and I'm giving a crazy idea that I haven't tested, but I'm sure some of you will like to do. Raspberry Pi, Big Brother, and you have your own portable fake news generator for the world. And machine learning is unstoppable. Absolutely all available information can be classified somehow into patterns and exploited for the particular benefit of a system, even for biased ones. I want to give a special shout for Omar Santos and all the Grey Hat staff for this opportunity. And a special thanks to my friend Florencia Diaz for helping us developing Big Brother in the first place. Please feel free to follow us on Twitter or on GitHub. You can find me on every social network as Mauro Eldritch. I'm happy to engage and to exchange information or exchange projects or to discuss different things. You can also find Santiago on Twitter and GitHub and our DC. Our DC loves talking about hardware hacking, open source intelligence, and social engineering. So feel free to drop by and we can make a pretty interesting exchange. Also, don't forget to grab a copy of our Big Brother tool here on Mauro Eldritch-Big Brother. It was a pleasure to be here, and if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the chat and we'll be more than happy to answer them. Also, feel free to drop any question you want to do privately on Twitter. So thank you.